that we use.
And now they're locked within the ward.
Yes, sir.
Are they locked in anything else besides the ward? I mean, are you locked in your bedroom at night?
No, absolutely not.
So there's a single entry into the ward, and it's limited access into the ward. But once you're in the ward, it's pretty
Well,
much.
there's a locked door in each end.
Okay.
So there's two ways in, but once they're in, that's
These patients, obviously, a lot of them take medication. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
Are difficult situations arise regarding medication with these patients?
If the doctor orders medication, the patient doesn't feel he needs it, then it causes problems.
Okay. Is there forced medication?
Yes, sir.
And how does that occur?
Generally, if the patient is ordered medication, he refuses it, a second opinion is required, another doctor has to talk to him. He'll say also he needs medication, we'll write an order to give him medication. 90% of the time, 95% of the time, once a patient understands the medication is forced, and if we have to call to another ward and get a couple extra people up there, they generally take it without any other problem. But every once in a while, it becomes necessary to give him a shot, give him an injection, a muscle injection.
All right, so if you do a forced medication, it's through injection?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Over the last 11 years that you've been working as a forensic security employee, has the makeup or the attitude of the patient that comes in changed?
The makeup is similar. I mean, we're getting the same style of patients, but the attitude is significantly different.
And how is that?
We used to get patients that when they come in, they understood the situation, the circumstances, and the rules. 95% of the patients were okay with it. They go along. You always had your disruptive ones. But now we're dealing with a more difficult style patient, more demanding things we're not supposed to have. We're not allowed to have this. They're very, you know, obviously, if they ask you a question, the answer is no. They call a patient advocate, and then we get investigated. I mean, it's very, very, it's shifted. It used to be, we used to be playing in control. Now it's 50-50. It's a toss of the dice.
So the requirements of the job have changed over 11 years.
Yes, sir.
And we talked about the amount or the physical restraint changes that have occurred. Towards the same way, Tyrone talked about the use of verbal commands, the use of incentive to get people to stop.
We function under the same rules as far as physical restraint control patients go. So we use the same techniques and the same training.
Okay.
So
That's all.
President, I would like to clarify something with Mr. Smaller. There was some questions from the panel concerning an incident on the civilian side of the hospital where the inference was that the patients on Mr. Smaller's side have a propensity to crime, and it's the same type of people on the civilian side. We're aware of that incident, but it's true that that wasn't actually a patient that committed the crime, correct?
Actually, he was a patient. He was also an employee, but he was a patient.
At the time, he was a patient.
Just got out of the psych center.
The only reason I knew about that is because my other client's shot.
We just weren't aware of it. An employee.
Any questions from the panel?
Former employee that came back into the hospital. Not a patient.
Any questions for Mr. Bishop? Thank you, gentlemen. Ready for the association? Thanks.
Sure, at this point, I would ask that the CC Center monitors come up for the presentation regarding the CC centers.
Good afternoon. You state your name for the record, please.
Connie Linebacker.
Likewise.
Thank you. Yeah, just get close to the microphone.
Connie, could you please tell us when you started with the Department of Corrections?
May 18, 2009.
Okay, and where do you currently work?
Owensboro Community Correction Center.
14 years, and I paid for a year and a half.
Okay. Did you go back and get a degree from Penn State during that time period?
Yes, I did. I graduated from Penn State in 1997 with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice.
And why did you apply with the Department of Corrections?
I applied for the Department of Corrections because I wanted to help people. I wanted to, when I got my degree, I wanted to go into probation and parole.
Okay. Now, you're working at the CC Center in Warnersville. What is the role, or your understanding of what the role is of the CC Center?
The CC Center is reintegration into the community and involvement with their family again.
Okay. And what types of inmates are supposed to be at these CC centers?
Supposed to be nonviolent,
Okay. Good behavior, those type of.
yes.
Okay. And you're familiar with the level an inmate gets assigned?
I am not familiar with that, no.
Okay. Level 1, 2, and 3, you don't know that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they're supposed to be level 1.
So the people that come into the CC Center are supposed to be designated as level 1. What type of level inmates do you actually see?
Considerably, they're supposed to be level 1 when they come into the CCC.
All right. Have you ever experienced or heard of a inmate coming directly from the restricted housing unit into a CC Center?
Yes,
Okay. Now, when these inmates come into the CC Center, do they have to have a job, a plan? What's the,
they do have plans. They are provided by their counselors. They are supposed to have a job, and actually it's reintegration in the community, so they have to try and get a job. They have DNA evaluations, some of them, who have problems, and they want them to do stuff for themselves again.
okay.
They have to do their own cooking, their own shopping.
Okay. And the CC Center itself, is this a locked down facility?
No,
Are the inmates free to come and go? What's the structure of that area?
they have full movement, 24 hours. They have a sign-in and sign-out protocol. There's guidelines for where they can sign out to and where they cannot sign out to, and for so many hours a day.
Okay. And the CC Center in Warnersville, what do the monitors work? What types of shifts do they work?
6 to 2, 2 to 10, and 10 to 6.
All right. And are there more on different shifts, or is it about the same? How's that work?
It's about the same. There's supposed to be 3 on a shift in each building, but sometimes there's only 2.
And how many buildings are at Warnersville currently?
There are 3.
Okay. Are they all up and running, or is?
They're all up and running at the moment, yes.
Okay. And these inmates, as they go to work or come back from work, do they sign in and out? How do you keep track of them?
Yes. They sign in and out. There's folders. When an inmate arrives to the center, they all have their individual folders, and that's how we are accountable for them. They sign out. Some of them sign out as early as 4:30 in the morning for work and return at 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. So when we use the phrase, and you've heard the phrase that everybody's pretty much familiar with in this room, care, custody, and control, what does that mean to you as a CCC monitor?
Yes, we are accountable, and we have care, custody, and control of all the residents that are in there. We must make sure of all their movements and secure the whole building and everyone in it.
Okay. No different than some of the things you've heard about through our testimony from the COs or the CO2s and things of that nature.
Correct.
Now, you on the pay scale as a CC monitor, where do you fit on the pay scale?
We're down on the bottom.
Okay. And is it a 29? Do I have the number right?
Correct.
Oh. 30. 30? Okay. Now, let's talk about what your duties and responsibilities are what, do you carry weapons at the CC Center?
No,
Do you have any weapons available to you at the CC Center?
we have OC.
OC spray?
Yes.
And is that kept on your person, or is that kept at a central location?
That is at a central location and it's locked up.
Okay. What about, do you have radios on? Do you have panic buttons? What's?
We have radios, but they do not have panic buttons.
Okay. If an emergency happens at the center, are the panic buttons throughout the center, or do you have to do something else?
No, just radio.
All right. So when an emergency happens, are you just calling 911? Is that the basic procedure, or
As far as
there's an assault?
there's an assault, with a person who's getting assaulted, you have, the only thing you have on your person is your radio.
Okay. And where does the radio key into? Who are you call? Who's on the other end of that radio?
Other staff members,
Okay.
monitors, sometimes counselors, if it isn't past 4 o'clock.
Only whoever's in that facility?
Yes,
Okay. So to get outside help, you're getting on the phone, is that correct?
correct.
All right. Now, aside from CC Center monitors, who else is working in that facility?
Counselors and center directors.
Okay. There's one center director,
One center director per building,
and how many counselors would you say?
4 per building.
All right. And counselors, is that self-explanatory what they do? I mean, generally, what do they do?
Generally, yes.
Okay.
They counsel and they try and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
On the plan that you talked about?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you do on a day-to-day basis as a CC monitor?
Sign them in and out based on the guidelines. We supervise medication lines. We must, when they bring medication into the facility, we must determine whether or not it is to be kept at control or if they can keep it in their rooms. When we call medication line, we supervise them taking their pills, and it's documented. We do intakes when they come from the prison, when they're released and it's supposed to come to our facility. They come there by bus or by family transportation. When they come into the facility, they must clear the metal detector. We must search their belongings, and every person that walks through the metal detector gets a pat search. Then from there, they are issued their personal folder, the time that when we arrive at the facility, and ask them for any checks. They're not allowed to have any more than $200 on a person at a time.
Is there a reason why they're only supposed to have $200?
Well, it's to control their money. They're supposed to be saving it to try and be getting a home plan to try and get out. It isn't a place for them to be staying permanently. So we're trying to reintegrate them into the community, so they have to have a place to live. So if they're working, then that way they have savings and they can be back to the community and be productive. So after that, they come in and we have to give them a room. So the monitors give them a tour of the building, show them their room. We issue them refrigerator boxes and dry boxes for their food, because we do not cook for them. They cook for themselves. So we issue them 4 locks, and that's all documented. Everything's documented that they received everything. We give them their linens. And after that, then the next day, we do welfare packets for them. The next day, they go to welfare after they arrive. And we have to make sure we document, be witnesses for welfare to prove that they are in our facility. And then they're into their programming.
Okay.
Excuse me, I just have, and maybe